How old's your daughter?
13.
Nice. That's awesome that you guys
Yeah.
have that in common.
Does she get to go with you on any of these trips and excursions?
Uh, they would, depending upon the location. So they would come and visit me if it was a nice place. So they came to see me when I was in Atlanta, Philadelphia. I don't know why they picked Branson when I was in Branson, but they decided to come visit me in Branson. Um, so yes, they do come depending upon where it is. But it was great because when they did visit in Branson, we were doing Peter Pan with Kathy Rigby, and my daughter was 18 months old, and I got to fly her for the first time. So
Oh,
after one of the
wow.
shows, I put her in a harness and strapped her in and hooked her up. And Kathy was there, and we lifted her up, and Kathy threw the fairy dust on her, and we swung her about the stage, and she had a great time, and she loved it. She had,
Oh my goodness. That's
Now
amazing.
you got pictures of that, I hope.
I hope you got
I, I
video of that.
I do. I have pictures and video.
That is awesome.
So don't mention any names because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But have you worked with any magicians?
Uh, yes, I have.
Awesome. Awesome. We have
Yes,
to talk off the air. There's
yes,
some that are
yes, we
great.
do.
There's some that are horrible.
Some, some. They're, I wouldn't say horrible. They're a handful. Working with
Ah,
magicians, as you know, they're a different breed.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes, they are. Oh
Um,
Some
my.
and
That's funny.
our
yeah,
first
at one
But it's
magic.
point
so
I was thinking, oh no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, it's so funny that everybody you talk to about magicians that they have pretty much have that same answer. They're interesting. That's so funny.
Our first magic convention I ever took my wife to. Some guy walked up to her and just looked her up head to toe, and then went back up to her head and said, "Are you with him?" And I was walking over to a booth to go shopping, and she's like, "Yeah." Does he ever rent you out to other magicians? And she's like, Wes,
Yeah.
Wes.
No, and I gotta
And then
go.
the same convention, some guy's walking around with a sponge on his ear that's bigger than my hand open, and it was just a carved tooth molar, and it was his Bluetooth that he attached to his ear. And he just thought
Oh,
that was hilarious. He just walking around the whole convention hall for the entire weekend with his
oh
Bluetooth in
man.
his ear. And it's
It
like,
takes a special kind to be a magician, apparently.
Yes, yeah, that is very true.
But
I
anyway,
remember my first magic convention was a Tannins convention up in the Catskills,
oh wow, never
way
been.
back when. It was a blast, and this was the year that David Copperfield was the Magician of the Year. So
Oh,
they
so what year are
presented
we
him with
talking?
that. 19.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Well,
It
I
was
know that
not.
I know that like before his first special, he did tannins up there and just set it on fire. I mean, everybody just said, "Who is this kid?" And he just blew everybody away. But I don't know what year he became Magician of the Year. I don't know.
I I I want to say that it might have been 82,
Well,
83.
that was the year that he blew everybody away. There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
so
were
it was one
there at
instant.
that year.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I actually have pictures of him, which is kind of cool because I get to see the way he was then and the way he is now.
That's so awesome, man.
Yeah.
So you also got to work with Kevin James. Was that a television show or was that a movie sequence?
No, it was a television show. It's for his show Kevin Can Wait.
Okay.
Um, I actually did two different sequences with him. One where he swung back and forth in a warehouse on a chain, like a block and fall type of deal, and then he gets caught by the criminals and they hang him upside down from it. So he does a whole scene, like a whole 2 minute scene, hanging upside down.
Oh,
Um, and then the other sequence, the other episode was where he jumps over a billboard and he rappels down and he swings back and forth trying to spray paint over an ad to cover it up. And I remember right before we were going to shoot that one, he looks at me, he goes, "Do I really have to do this?" I'm like, well, yeah, it's in the script. He goes, I really don't feel comfortable. I don't like this. I don't like heights. I'm like, Kevin, you
Aw.
wrote it in the script. You approved it. I'm here because you wanted to be here. He goes, all right, let's go, let's do this. But he is so professional. Every time I would work with him, every sequence we did, one take. Never took more than one take.
Wow.
I've only
Yep.
heard good things about Kevin James.
He's fantastic. He's so easy to work with, very professional, really funny, and very approachable.
That's awesome.
So, as far as the touring shows and the static one location shoots, I mean, the static shows have to be 1,000 times easier, correct? Or
Oh
is it the
yes,
same rigging?
definitely. No, it's usually different rigging. Like if it for a national tour, the equipment is built within a truss. So like when the show loads out, the equipment comes in and then they just fold the truss up and push it on the truck. So all of the cables and the ropes stay rigged. Whereas if it's a static or a one-time event, we just put a track up and string it, and then when the show is over, we take it down, cut the cables, disassemble everything, put it back in a box, and send it back to the vendor.
That is amazing. So they don't keep it on hand. They just rent it.
Exactly, they rent it. Like when we were on tour for Pan, sometimes we had a really tough schedule, so we would load in like either at 6 or 8 a.m. on a Tuesday, do a show, a load in 6 to 6 or 8 a.m. Tuesday morning, up until about 4 or 5 o'clock. Then we would have the sound check, fly rehearsal, fight rehearsal. We would do a show at 7, and then we would do 2 shows on Wednesday, a show on Thursday, a show on Friday, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. We would load out Sunday night, travel to the next city on Monday, and depending upon how intricate or tough the load in was going to be, we would either start a load in on Monday night and finish it on Tuesday, or fortunately we might even have a Monday night off, and then start all over again on Tuesday. And then we would just every week the same sequence over
Now,
and over again.
do you make sure you're there personally for the traveling shows, or do you sometimes send out one of your employees on those?
It depends on the show and who is actually flying.
Okay.
For Kathy Rigby's Peter Pan, they requested that I actually toured with the show, so I
Okay.
actually went on tour with them. But I have done shows where I would leave an associate there, and they would take care of it. So I would do all the choreography and set it up, and I might travel to the first or second cities after they open, and then I would leave. Just so I would make sure that the load in goes correctly, and then the flying rehearsals before the show would go well, and then after I see it for 2 different ways or 2 different venues, then I'll leave and say, okay, you guys got this.
Cool.